What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning back into another episode of At Home Dude. We recently had a request about how to teach your children to read, and so I'm going to be going over that. I'm just really going to hit on what I did for my children and what worked, and give you kind of a guide for different phases to help them progress through the stages of learning to read. Definitely stick around to the end, because at the end I'm going to tell you about some tools that I use that really help my children to progress in their reading. Also, I already had it in my mind that I wanted to do a YouTube guide. Since my kids were born and now they're 4 years old, my oldest is, I've been using YouTube to my advantage as a tool to really help them progress through learning all the different things that kids need to learn, whether it's fruits and vegetables, all the way to reading and counting. It can be a really useful tool if you use it correctly. I know a lot of people worry about screen time and things like that, but personally, I was able to manage it and use it to be effective for what we needed it for. And a lot of this involves curating videos and just making sure that when they are watching YouTube, it's actually videos that are effective in teaching them what you want them to learn. So it's gonna be a PDF or a Word file, and it's gonna have a bunch of video links in it. I'm also gonna try to create playlists so that it'll be easier for you guys just to put on a playlist, and your children will be able to learn and grow while you do whatever it is you need to do, because a lot of times that's what we're doing, right? We need to go hop in the shower, we throw on a video for them so that they stay put. Okay, so teaching your kids to read, it all starts off with the sounds of the words. So for us, we first went through phonics, and a lot of people will teach their children the ABC song, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That song is cool, but it's not the most effective song if you want to set them up for the future in terms of understanding the letters and the sounds. So the big thing here is to definitely teach them the Phonics Song. I will attach links down low about what I'm talking about, so just check the description and you'll be able to see them there. But the Phonics Song essentially goes, A says ah, A says ah, every letter makes the sound A says ah, and so on. Each letter of the alphabet, they go all the way through it, and it helps them to understand the sounds that the letters make. It'll also allow your child to start practicing the sounds. Even if they're tiny and they don't know, they'll still mimic whatever they see. So this song is a great song to play for them, because they'll start to exercise their tongue and their lips in the way that they will need to start to be able to pronounce the sounds. So the big thing here is consistency, and there are tons of phonics songs out there, but unfortunately a good handful of them actually are inconsistent and use sounds that you don't want to focus on. So if you catch them saying something like I for ice cream, that is not the ideal sound that you want to introduce to the child first for I, because you want to introduce I. And so I for igloo or iguana is a much better option, because it's not going to be using the secondary sound for I. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and it really pissed me off and got me annoyed. So just know that. So that was phonics and letter recognition. So you're gonna be going over the phonics, and then you're also gonna be showing them videos and things like that, flashcards, whatever you wanna use to do letter recognition. So when they see the letter, they associate it with the sound. After they have that down, you will go to the second phase, which will be letter blending. This is where you will introduce a second letter, and they will learn to start blending the two letters. A BL is bull, a PL is pull, a ST is st. At this point, there are two-letter words that they can start to understand, like up, up. And you can point up and just try to get them to understand that these words, once they are put together, actually mean something. That is gonna be a very big theme, and it really worked for us. Once I started conveying that the words mean something and they are messages, then my children were a lot more interested. But like I said, you can introduce act, you can introduce up. Generally, you want to stick with the words that you can pronounce phonetically easily. So up and act work really well, but of is not really one that you probably want to introduce early on. During this time, it's a great thing to be in front of them and showing them the mouth movements so that they can really pick up on exactly what you're doing with your mouth to make the sounds. Now, once they have gotten some blending, you can start to introduce CVC words. You can find videos on this online. Again, I'm going to have videos with the PDF file that I put out, but CVC words are consonant, vowel, consonant. So C-A-T, cat, at. All of the letters are phonetically sounded out and they are able to pick up on and read them fairly quickly. So this will allow them to actually start reading words. Cat, dog, lab, lab. Unfortunately, the word that you really need that isn't in this is the, because the is the word that is going to be in a lot of sentences. Even though you can't use the for this, you can start putting together fragments of phrases and sentences that they can start to sound out. And again, you just want to emphasize the practicality of the sentences and that they actually mean something. One that I like to use for my son is that he understands how to read his name. So I introduced David runs fast. And these are some 4-letter words in here, but he's able to pick up on it and he understands what it means and he's interested in it. So that really helps him. And the next phase is really going to be more and more sentences and just allowing them to understand what they mean. You're just going to try to get some fluidity going, try to get them to start liking reading. Now that they're starting to understand these phrases, you can introduce sight words to really make the phrases go. Really turn them into sentences and really allow the kids to work with them with a lot more words. Sight words are words that just don't sound like what they look like. So the word of or the word the, now you can include these into the sentences and they might start to pause at these words initially, but when they're in sentences, they'll start to read and pick up on them quicker. For sight words, I also use flashcards quite a bit just so that they can get used to it and see it over and over and over again, and then it becomes second nature and it really helps them to read quicker. And at this point, you're really at the home stretch. The last phase is just expanding their vocabulary and continuing to push them to words that are more syllables and words that are a little more foreign to them. This process definitely takes time and it takes a lot of patience. It really depends on the child. As you can see, or you probably already know, my youngest, he started reading at 2 years old and he's pretty much picking up books and reads them on his own. Books he doesn't know, books he does know, it really doesn't matter. Most of the words he really picked up on really quickly, and he loved to watch the YouTube videos of sight words and things like that, and he memorized them and it really worked out for him. David, on the other hand, my oldest, he isn't into that as much. He's more into physical activities and things like that, so I really have to work with him, and it is what it is. Some kids you will have to work with them on certain things more and other kids less. I think the big thing about it is just not making too big a deal about it and just being natural. From what I know, around 3rd grade, all the kids who were early and late all pretty much group around to the same reading level, and it kind of evens out. So don't be too worried, but definitely work on these things and hopefully you'll be able to make good progress. All right, so one thing I do want to stress is that trying to teach the rules of the English language is not really effective. At one point, I did explore this a little bit and I got to the 2 O's and I tried to tell them it sounds like ooh. And then I started to realize that in soon they sound like ooh, in food they sound like ooh, but what about foot? So that is the English language for you. Things don't always make sense and it is extremely complex to really try to take someone and say, here are all the rules, now learn to read. That didn't work for us and it really frustrated me because rules tend to change whenever they want to, right? I before E, except after C, you know the rest. All right, so now that we're at the end, I'm gonna tell you about the tools that worked pretty well for us. Now, obviously books work pretty well and flashcards worked really well for us, but additionally, their tablets actually worked really well. Specifically on their tablets, there was an application developer called Originator, and they make the Endless Reader, and it's called Endless Learning Academy. You can look it up. They even have videos of the game on YouTube. So you can have your kids watch it if they don't have a tablet, or if they do have a tablet that has the app, they can actually pull it up and play it themselves. But it has different word games, and it kind of works with the letter sounds and teaches them to read. So that really helped, and my kids even do it in Spanish sometimes, and they really enjoy it. Also, I already showed in a previous video the fishing game that we have, and they fish for words and they read them that way. So there definitely are games out there that you can find to help them to learn to read and make it fun. But like I said, I used YouTube, and it was a huge tool for me because there are a lot of sight word songs and videos out there, and there are a lot of ABC videos. When they were really tiny, what I like to do is show them other kids singing the ABCs, and it really kind of struck a nerve with them because I guess in their mind they felt like they were supposed to be doing it and participating into it also, since another child was. So that was something that I thought of and I found, and it seemed to work, and they seemed interested in it. All right, so that was a ton of stuff. I hope you guys got some good information from this video. And like I said, I'm gonna put out like a YouTube greatest of all time video collection, and I'm gonna put out all the links in a Word document. And I'm also gonna link them and put them into a playlist so that you guys can just click on it, let your kids watch it, and they'll always be watching something that will benefit them, whether they're learning fruit, whether they're learning to read, or their letter sounds, or all types of things, vehicles. So definitely look out for that. Have a great day, and let me know in the comments if there's anything that helped you out when you were young to read, or if there's anything you found for your kids to read. Definitely throw it in the comments and I'll check it out and we can talk about it. Have a great one. I'm out. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom.
You're 70. 70?